What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another Dead in Hip Hop Soul album review, and today I'm talking about the newest album from Aesop Rock entitled Spirit World Field Guide. So I don't really need to give a history on Aesop Rock. Most of you guys know who he is. This is his 8th studio album, and it starts off with Aesop giving you a sort of introduction into what the album is going to be. You know, a guide through the spirit world, and I found this line to be very interesting. There are days I fear my work will only serve to create more confusion about what I've found, but I felt it necessary to stay the course in hopes that these insights may be illuminating for some. It's almost like he's talking about his entire career there, right? And it's like he's letting you know that this is going to be a guide about life based on the experiences that he's had and how he hopes that this will help you through life as you run into similar experiences. It rolls into the gates, which was the first single, I believe. And it starts off with this almost video game tweaked accordion sound. You know, the beat has this almost creepy aspect to it. Lots of really tight synths, some hard bass sounds. And then Aesop comes in with this really bouncy flow. And every time I hear it, I'm reminded of Pusha T's verse on Mercy. Tell me if I'm crazy there. But he seems to be talking a lot about being withdrawn from society as a whole, while also describing him moving away from his serious bout with depression. I guess this depends on how you look at the gate, right? Is this a gate towards a world of depression, or is this a gate out of a world of depression and back into, you know, the real world? And I'm gonna say it's the latter. And this song has a lot of dope lines, but I really like this one. My dream home has like 10,000 deadbolts and less than no windows. Button Masher is just fantastic. That beat is great with the smooth bass and those really nice drums, and it seems to be this take on an outer space adventure featuring Aesop Rock, you know, where he's leaving Earth and he's saying goodbye to his significant other, etc. But it could also have a double meaning of someone leaving what we would refer to as the regular world, regular life, for one that's a bit more isolated. And his flow here is really nice, and this is one of my favorite lines on the album. I use a phony voice when I'm yelling nobody's home. I'm a liar, but I wouldn't say I'm wrong. I took this as a take on wanting people to simply leave you alone, while also being a comment on how empty one could feel on the inside, you know? He says he's not home, but he is home, but he feels so empty inside that saying he's not home doesn't necessarily feel like a lie. Pizza Alley is one of my favorite songs on the album, mainly because I can relate to it really hard, you know? Instrumentally, it's really fitting for the song as it's a more mellow and airy and atmospheric beat, some nice synth sounds, some chimes going on, and even the beat switch works really well as there's a shift in theme when it happens. Lyrically, this is about a trip to Peru that Aesop took back in 2017. He went during a low point in his life, and he credits this trip for giving him some inspiration. And this reminds me a lot of a trip that I took back in 2016 to Costa Rica. And this song is just full of amazing bars, but this one really hit me. The strays in the plaza look happier than my neighbors. In Peru, it's common for dogs to be everywhere and out in the streets, and I witnessed the same thing in Costa Rica. But Aesop talking about them looking happier than his neighbors, it struck me because this was something that I picked up on as well. The dogs I ran across in Costa Rica were all super friendly and seemed carefree, as did the people, which amazed me as Americans will look down on the people of these places because they may not have what we have and they seem poor to us, but what I notice is they are the happiest people that I've ever encountered in my entire life. Maybe because the material things that we focus on don't mean anything to them, you know, and that's a major lesson that I feel like people can use on their journey through the spirit world. Find him a strange hill to die on. Never let me die on a regular hill. I love this whole idea of him not wanting to put his support behind ideas that could seem basic, but instead focusing on ones that may seem out there or ones that may stimulate the imagination. Oh, and I really like the Buffy callback with the reference to the Hellmouth. Holy Waterfall is another one of my favorite jams on this album. I think the production on this one is super dope. The drums are really nice, and the sound effect in the background that almost sounds like a theremin worked really well. And it was especially cool when the beat switches on the last verse with this totally subtle change in the drums. This is another one about a trip that Aesop Rock took, this time to Cambodia, and his writing on this song is incredibly vivid. Flies. Only Aesop can make a song about fruit flies that's under a minute long actually compelling. He does it so well. He describes the frustration of having a fly infestation in your house. And again, I can relate because I've had a few of those. I literally had a fly infestation a few days ago. And do you guys know how annoying it is to kill a fly and then another fly and another fly and just keep having new ones show up? I'm clapping at the air, I'm cornered by the plates, I'm brought upon my knees, I'm forfeiting the space, I'm clawing at the walls, swarm ordering me ate, it's death from above, nobody saying grace. That sounds about right. The song Salt, holy shit, this beat, that slick ass bass line, more weird, spooky sound effects. It almost sounds like the backdrop to a scary moment in a horror movie. Like, it's just great. We slalom from beyond the wildly oscillating compass. Whether you connect the dots or not is truly not my problem. Does that embody Aesop Rock or what? 1 to 10, an entire song about back pain, and as someone with chronic back pain, this song hit home. Laugh if you want to, youngsters, but when you get to be a little bit older, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. But the first thing a chiropractor usually asks you on your first visit is, what is your pain level? Describe it on a scale of 1 to 10. So the title is very fitting. The way he raps along to the beat on Side Quest is just wild to me. It's got a really odd time signature, and listening to him flow over it, it's great. Marble Cake is amazing. This one sees Aesop Rock discussing exploring different avenues of life instead of worrying about death, and the hook is great. I should paint an eye on the front door. I should tell time by the sun more. I want a flaming arrow shot into a creeping raft. I'm kidding, I just want the cheapest shit you people have. It's no thing. Those of us who have watched Game of Thrones all know about the extravagant death ceremonies where they shoot the flaming arrows onto the raft that's carrying the dead body. And Aesop is saying he's not worried about that because how you live your life is far more important than how extravagant your death is. But overall, I thought this was a great listen, of course. I can't say there's a song on here that I didn't like. Every one of them has its moments. Each one has ideas and bars that you can pull from it after it's over. I felt that The Impossible Kid was probably his most understandable and easily digestible record in terms of being able to follow along to the lyrics and understand the themes pretty well. But the writing on this one is a bit more dense. You know, I feel like this one might require a bit more work to decipher than The Impossible Kid did, if you're into that sort of thing. But as a writer, I think he's only gotten better with time and age, so I feel like the work you put into deciphering this one has a huge payoff. Now that doesn't mean that I think this is a perfect album. I do have a couple small gripes. I do feel that it's a bit bloated. It could definitely stand to be slimmed down a little. 21 is a lot of songs. And my other gripe is actually a bit connected to the first gripe. I think the album could stand to have a few features. And I wouldn't normally say that, but I think that would have nicely broken up the feeling of the album a bit. Over an hour of Aesop Rock is a bit overwhelming, so a few people jumping in here and there could have helped the album not feel quite as stale or samey at times. But that said, I still find this to be an amazing listen. I love how he's found a way to make an intensely personal album still appear relatable for many people. You know, as he stated at the start of the album, he wants this to be a guide for others that may find their travel through life or the spirit world to be a difficult one, and he wants this album to help them out a bit, and I think he succeeds incredibly. So I actually think this is one of the best albums to come out this year. If you've heard it, make sure you drop some comments down there in the comment section and let me know what you thought of it. And yeah, as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace out, boy.